Hey, how's everybody doing? It's Blue Shadow from the Loyalty Gang. Shout out to my boys over at Loyalty. But before this video gets started, I just wanted to go ahead and give a giveaway announcement. We're going to be giving away two separate copies of Brawlout. One's going to be for the North American gang, and one is going to be for the European gang. Both going to be on the PS4. Unfortunately, that's all I could get my hands on, but I will definitely take that with all the gratitude in the world. So if you guys know any European players that want to give Brawlout a try, please send them over to the video. We will be going over how to get a part of the giveaway at the end of the video, so please stay tuned for that. But with that all being said, let's go ahead and get started. So for today's video, I'm going to be going over a few things that I, Blue Shadow, would like to see in the game, or things I want for the game. We're going to be breaking it down into 4 different sections. It's going to be more on the goofier side to start off, and then we're going to get into a couple of weird things that I personally would like to see. We're going to go into the third thing, which would be more realistic changes that I think we could see in the near future. And then the fourth thing is going to be things that are, in my opinion, things that need to happen in order for the game to survive or do better. I want to go ahead and do a disclaimer. I love this love this game, so please do not take the end of this video as Blue Shadow hates the game. He's crapping on it or anything like that. I do love the game very much. I'm still pretty active, I would like to say. Not as active as I used to be, but still pretty active for the game, working on YouTube videos for it. So don't take that as end-all be-all, I hate the game. So that being said, we'll go ahead and segue into the goofy topics. Alrighty, so starting off strong with the goofy topics, I would love some new characters. Not just one, not just 2, maybe like 5 or 10. You know, why not? Why not? We already have some really cool, unique characters. I think a couple more licensed characters would help spice up the game a little bit more. But even if we do get a new character that has variants that splits off just like the other characters in the game, I think it would really help the meta of the game, because right now we're not really sure who really dominates in the competitive side. It's not a super important thing because metas constantly evolve, but I think having a new character would kind of help keep people interested and be an interesting way for me to personally level up, just to work on something else. The next thing I'm super particular about, a little nitpicky on, is change the heights of specific characters. Ukulele, but some characters just don't get comboed that hard, and I personally would love to have Drifter dominate, so that'd be a pretty nice change for me. The next thing is just get a couple more Smash players to try the game out. I know there are a few out there that have tried the game, but that was early on. I think the game is in a pretty decent spot, and I think if they were to try it now with the projectile change being our last thing, I think they would enjoy it a little bit more. The next thing is going to be new emotes. So we kind of like don't really talk trash mid-game, and we don't have taunts, but we do have emotes that you can send up at any point. Even while getting comboed, you can send them out. Some players used to combo the heck out of me, and I would just go ahead and put the emote out there because I knew I was dead or I was about to die. So I think new ones would be really cool, just little changes. And we'll kind of segue into other things that would make that better or interesting. And the last thing, I'm kind of teetering on goofy and, you know, things that I want to see, like weirder things that I personally want, and that would be a PR system. I think having a visual for people to see what characters are doing well and how competitive how competitive the game is would help go a long way for people that are just Googling Brawlout information. We have a handful of guides out there, we have a handful of tournament videos out there, but just hard facts on where the game is right now and what players are doing well, I think would be an interesting thing to be able to Google, just to see what characters and what players are doing well, and then maybe take the time to look into what the player is doing or how they're doing in the tournament. So I think if people were to have that visual, it helped them be more interested in the game. I'm actually going to continue on the PR thing a little bit more. I think it's more of a community thing, and I think it's something we could update weekly or monthly at the most. But it could be a constant thing that we could do together to try to show off like what players can strive for. Like seeing what player is the best, and then if they play on the same console, then it gives them something to shoot for. We have our own little ranking ourselves, but it's not as accurate because of the fact that the game is played on different consoles, and we'll get into that one for sure later on. The PR system, something I'm willing to take time to making a separate video for, or discussing who I think should go where on like a ranking. So please let me know down in the comments if that's something you guys want me to talk about, or if you just flat out don't think we need one at all. But that's definitely a topic I'm willing to touch on a little bit more in the future, so please let me know. Okay, so the starting of the weird things that I want specifically, I think as much as I hate the free-to-play model, I think for a game like this, I think it would help out really well. And one way to do that is create a battle pass or some way to recycle gold or pinatas, because once you hit a certain level in the game, you cannot do anything else with your pinatas or gold. I'm pretty sure I've been told you can just open your pinatas and get gold, but then it comes back to the whole you can't do anything with it. It's not a huge thing, it's just something I'm very nitpicky about, because I hate seeing the notification of having pinatas that I cannot open. But that's just something I think a little minor tweak, not as important as the other things. The next thing that is somewhere along the same line, I think character levels should be allowed to go past level 15, even if you already get your gold skin. It just caps out at level 15, which I think having the level continually go, or even give it like a prestige or something, some way to continue the progress of your character, I think would help players like me just see how much time I've really put into a character. Or maybe that's a thing that's available after you get each character level 15, and I'm actually not sure about that. But just new features for characters like that, like allowing you to go past level 15. The last super weird thing that I'm kind of particular about is profiles or multiple sets of controls that I can customize. You have two forms of base controls, one with your jump being like your X or your A for Xbox people, or B for Switch people, and you can pretty much flip-flop them from either top or bottom, essentially. So like triangle, Y, I think X for the Switch. So I think having the option to customize your controls beyond just one set of custom controls would be helpful for me to test out tilt stick without sacrificing the other things. Like tilt stick is on the default, which I think is cool. It's a different way to play, I think, because the game is so fast-paced that it's cool. But I think I personally would like the options to customize my controls a bit more. There aren't grabs or anything specific like that, but even like defaulting your burst down to one button, I think would kind of change the game a bit. I know the 2-button confirm is probably designed that way for a reason, but just a little bit of extra customization would be a little helpful for me. Alright, so this is the part of the video where you guys might start to question my loyalty a little bit, but hear me out. I promise I will try very hard to not be super mean. But this next thing that's coming up is literally dead in between like a realistic change that we could see and something I more specifically want as like a weird thing. But that would be a ranked reset. The leaderboard has been there from the beginning of the game, I believe, and it's kind of hard to even reach out to the people at the top without them being like, no, I don't play the game anymore. And we don't even know what the ranked like caps out at, or at least I don't. I'm classified as a floater, and I don't even know what that means. I'm pretty sure I'm just classified as above average, but like on the global PS4 leaderboards, I'm like 68th or something, right? But then I play up against a few people that are at the top of the leaderboard, and I can kind of go the distance with them. Not saying I'm better than them or anything like that, but it's just weird to see. They're just straight up outdated, and I think a new one would kind of give a breath of fresh air into the community, at least for the PS4 scene. The next thing I think is something that we really could see, and I hope we do see it sooner or later, is new maps. I've kind of touched on this on stream before, but I think a PS2 or a Lilat would be a very interesting mechanic. Those stages kind of spice up the Smash scene, and I know it's not Smash, so I hate that I compare it as much as I do, but I think maps like that kind of give players an option to really push themselves in different environments. We have 3 final destinations that are allowed in tournament, which is partially my fault, but I liked the smallest stage, and I thought it was something that should have been added versus the very large ones. But having something like, Lilat and PS2 would be really interesting and kind of give a little bit more room, especially with Lilat having like slanted ledges. Even if we didn't have slanted ledges, I think just having that design would be pretty interesting, and maybe create wonky plays with dash attacks or projectiles. I think personally, me not liking projectiles as much, having a slant to kind of cut off the projectiles being thrown out as much. If it were to cut the distance short, I think it would just help out certain players a lot, me included, or me especially, where projectiles kind of reign dominant against me. I think having Lilat slants would help. I also would love to see like a Yoshi's Story, or even a Yoshi's Island, where maybe we had some form of Randall, or just a small stage that kind of pushes and emphasizes the faster paced play. I don't really think we have too many campers, but just faster combos and more exciting games to watch, like on stream, things like that. The last realistic thing, which falls back on the community again, which is something I'm working on, is doubles tournaments. I think doubles for this game is definitely not the best, but they're definitely fun, definitely interesting to try out. We don't really have items to worry about or any crazy game modes that are like constantly showing up on online lobbies. So for us to work on doubles compositions and like figure out what maps really work, I'd think at the stage of the game right now, only a few maps would work for doubles, which is totally fine. You can just kind of rotate the 3 just to see how the game starts out and go from there, kind of build off of it, and that also kind of pumps a breath of fresh air into the game, in my opinion. Okay, so this is the part of the video I didn't really want to get to, because like I said, I do love this game a lot, but this is some things I have to get off my chest, and this is, like I said, all my opinion, but things we do need for the game to actually kind of survive at this stage. The first thing is going to be cross-platform. The only way for you to get consistent matches is if you have your own community tab on the platform you play on, or you happen to be active enough in the Discord to really practice with specific people, and unfortunately there aren't enough people playing the game right now to really get good practice, quote-unquote practice. I'm looking at it as a competitor and a content creator, and nobody really hits me up to practice. I have to go out of my way to try to get one of my friends that don't really like to play the game to play a specific character somewhat well, just for me to try to get used to practicing against that character that I'm struggling with. And it's not gonna be easy for new people to come along and see, hey, I can only really get a few matches if I get added to this group chat or enter the Discord and constantly check it to see if people are looking. And the other main thing about cross-plat is it reduces the setup and like the monetization of tournaments, because it would just be one tournament every week or every other week, or we could set up monthlies, things like that, and give people the time to actually practice and work on metas. Right now we have 4 different days where we do 4 different tournaments, and it's hard to even get people to come out to those, like each tournament has a handful of players and they play each other the same time every week, and if one player is doing really well, they don't really have an option to practice against other people. They can work on that one matchup, but that's pretty much it. They're not really motivated to really try to get better. And we don't really need leagues, but it's like the people that don't feel comfortable playing at the highest level can do a practice tournament or just focus on one day to do friendlies. But there just needs to be a way for everyone to be able to play other people. Right now, I can say from being from the PS4 tournament or PS4 scene, we have our own separate PlayStation messaging chat just for the people that are consistent, and those people constantly play against each other, but don't really have the motivation or the time to enter tournaments. It doesn't really work with their schedule. Not saying reducing the days would, but it's just, not having the people that play the game every day or every other day be able to enter is a big flaw that I think is something we need to address. I don't know how expensive it is to set up cross-platform. I'm just saying this as a competitor, but it's just too all over the place in my opinion, especially as a competitor, where it's like you always wonder how good the Xbox player is. I'm fortunate enough to be like in a spot where I can play anyone at any time. Do I like playing on the Switch? No. My favorite console to play on is the PS4. I know that sounds wonky with our internet connection and things like that, which I will go over in a second, but it's too much to go from system to system in my opinion, and that's coming from somebody that does it every once in a while. I'm also just saying that too because me setting up my stream for my PC setup and my PS4 setup just to try to even set it up for the Switch is just too much for me as a content creator. That's not as important, but you guys see where I'm coming from. The next thing is going to be more skins / colors / cosmetics. In the last projectile patch, I believe, was when we got the Saphira skin, the Volt skin, and the Paco skin, the Astro Paco skin. I don't remember the names of the other two, but it's been a while since we've had a little bit more, uniqueness to characters. And I'm not saying each character needs their own custom skin, but just regular, additions of colors. And I know I keep comparing it to Smash, but it's like Smash, you have 8 colors or different colors that you can use per character. And in this game, I know it's a lot of variants, so it's like essentially you could say it's like 12 per, depending on how many variants there are per character. But it's like we've had the same colors and everything just looks the same, and it's looked the same for like the past, 2-3 years, to my understanding. Obviously the game has changed a decent amount since launch, but it's kind of hard for a game that's newer and primarily online to not see constant changes when games like Brawlhalla, Rivals of Aether, things like that constantly get DLC or new colors. And especially Brawlhalla's just got new weapon skins, things like that, battle pass, events, things like that. It's just hard for a game like this to compare to those, especially performance wise, when it's like we are at a stage where we're almost like Melee, where we don't have anything new and we just don't have the player base to do what Melee does, in my opinion. Smash is one of those things where it's like they don't get character color changes and things like that, but they're constantly getting new cosmetics, even for the kids that are playing with their Mii fighters. You can play as like Sans and Cuphead and things like that, but in Brawlout it's you get your 3 or 4 additional colors, and whenever you get your character to level 15 you get your silver and you get your gold. It's pretty much it. And grinding to get gold for each character is just not as fun if you don't like playing that character, in my opinion. It's something to work for if you're a completionist or an achievement hunter, but with trials being one of the longest things you can do to like grind XP, and it's also not necessarily the easiest thing to do, it's like just not really worth grinding out the colors, and it's not really visually pleasing. This isn't something that I should have put in the needs to happen, but just like the breath of fresh air that I was talking about, like just having new content. And segueing into new content is patches and balancing. Like I said earlier with the whole Melee thing, this game is not at a level where Melee is, where we're just okay with where the meta is, in my opinion. Like, I'm not okay with where characters are and like how mechanics work. I know the game is not gonna hit like a perfect level. Melee is not perfect. We all know that, but it's like we are not capped out at where the meta is now. It's just like I, as a player, have an understanding that projectiles are going to irritate me, and I'm working and taking the steps to get better, to get around these projectiles that are bothering me. But for other players, it's like we're always looking for something new, even if it's a patch, even if it's a balance, like something small, like one move from one character gets changed. It's like, okay, how do we deal with that? One thing that's constantly mentioned, especially when I was playing Dead Cells a lot, is like Dead Cells back air kills you at like 50 no matter what your character is or something like that. And it's like everybody thought it was broken. People didn't want to play against me if I was playing Dead Cells, things like that. I'm more on like the buffing side, where I would like to see Drifter get minor buffs, not anything crazy, but I just want his like 2 hits of his up tilt to hit more characters so that I could work on comboing better. I don't want any game breaking changes. I just want like little tweaks and just kind of tune them out. Even like an experimental mode would be, you know, something to look forward to, just to like check things out. And I'm not saying every player should have access to this, but it's like when we don't know what's being worked on, it's just really heartbreaking, you know, like. And another thing is like, for the PS4 scene especially, we have like internet issues, game crashes, and I know I personally haven't brought them up, but it's just like I'll be mid-set, like playing against somebody on PS4, and then it'll say the players are out of sync, and I don't know if that's an internet connection issue on my end. I like to think I have good internet. I'm LAN like hardwired in, you know, but it's like there aren't dedicated servers and things like that, so we're just playing by ear. Like we have to put the internet delay to 8 and things like that. Like we have to do things as players to try to enjoy the game for what it is, and then just to have all this extra work put in just for the game to crash on you or lock you in an infinite loading screen. It's like things like that need to be changed for us to just not get discouraged, because people have just gotten off because their game crashed like 2 to 3 times back to back to back. Sometimes it happens more often than others, but it's like the fact that it's happening is, you know, still something that is very discouraging and annoying to deal with. It's like that risk factor, especially for me being in a tournament and my primary platform is PlayStation. It's like, God forbid I get out of sync and I'm not keeping check of like what my percentage was when I got hit or where I was on the stage or things like that, just to have to take the time to close the app, reload the app, get each other close to that percentage, because you can't really get it spot on each time. But it's just the risk factor, you know, like nobody wants to get disconnected mid-game, and it just happens a little too often on the PS4 scene than I would like. So that's just my 2 cents on, you know, like the balancing, the new patches, and like constant bug fixes that I think need to happen. So like I said, I didn't really want to get to that last part of the video, but I think it was just things I needed to get off my chest. I will be working on another video titled "What is Brawlout?" If you guys have things you would like me to include in that one, let me know. We can talk about it on Twitter or Discord. But yeah, going to the giveaway information now. I'm gonna do something super easy because I want to get these copies out as soon as possible. So especially for my EU people, just leave a like and a really cool comment about things you want to know about Brawlout, and I will put everybody in a little RNG list, and we'll try to get that out by the time I get another YouTube video out, which should be sometime within the next 2 weeks, hopefully by next week. But I'm lazy, I'm super lazy, so I'll be working on that. But super simple giveaway entry. Just leave a comment, like, share the video, especially for my European people, please. I want to get that copy out as soon as possible. I unfortunately don't know many European players that are still active, so I'll be reaching out to them as well. But for my North American people, just leave a comment, and if you're doing it for a friend, just let me know. Anything, maybe refer your friend to the video as well so they can leave a comment. But yeah, super easy, super simple stuff. Please let me know if you disagree with anything I said in the video, if you agree with anything I said, if you have things you wanted to add, we can talk about it in the comment section. Please let me know what you guys think. But with all that being said, thank you guys for watching. Please share this video around as much as possible, and I will see you guys in the lobbies.